Welcome back, family, to another episode of the Matthew 7 and 7 Project Podcast. I'm your host, Samuel, a.k.a. Mr. Lionhearted, and here with me, as always, Coach AK.
What's up, y'all?
How you doing, Coach?
Good.
All right. Dom C on the end. How you doing, Dom?
What's going on, man? I'm doing great.
You look like you're doing great, man.
Do I?
Yeah.
I'm glad I look like that, man, because he brought me from a mighty long way.
Hey, tell him about it. Tell him about the long way.
Oh, Lord. I was dark.
Okay.
I was blind. I was wayward.
Speak.
And God saw me in my mess.
Ooh,
He did.
What'd he do when he seen you?
He reached.
Oh!
He reached and he grabbed me and pulled me in. Washed my life clean from sin.
Hey there.
He loved me so, and this I know.
Well,
He wants you to know that what's inside of you is like grandmama's greens. So don't give up. Your time is coming.
we got a good topic for you
That'll be
guys
good.
today. Oh man, hey, you know what? This has been the beginning of a great weekend. We in our Passover season.
Yes.
Tonight we got our Passover meal. I can't wait to get some of that lamb. It's gonna be delicious and divine to my whole spirit.
Amen.
You know what? Not just my flesh, but my spirit.
Amen.
Even though back then they ain't want to season nothing, I ain't even gonna talk about it. But
Well, they had the herbs and whatnot. I'm pretty sure that what they was using
they ain't had no
was fire.
Tonys though.
Nah, they didn't. Nah, they didn't. But it was roast though. Like I don't.
Yeah.
I'm sure they had butter back then. But nah, the word ain't say. But how the word say season it with bitter herb. It probably was fire though.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I mean,
and that's all they
I
knew,
mean,
so they
yeah,
weren't
exactly.
tripping off
Yeah.
nothing.
That's bad.
Exactly. So
Can you imagine the first man though? It's like seasoning.
Right.
They came on the scene with the seasoning.
Change their lives for forever.
Hey, what?
brother was just in there playing with the harvest. Sprinkle some wheat in there.
Right.
Oh man.
I wonder what would happen if I crushed up some of these peppers.
He turned them up with that.
Yeah, facts. I wonder who the first person was to fry something. Like the things that we so used to now. Like
Right.
who was heating up oil and was like, "Well, don't just put it in there naked, bread it."
Right.
Right. Definitely was a woman. Yeah.
Maybe so. Yeah, because a man definitely would have just been like, "Well, just put the meat in there." Can't just put the meat in there, fool.
We gotta put something on it. Back then they using the loaf. They just wrap up in the bread. And what you laughing at? They ain't have breadcrumbs.
I know that. It's the way you wrapped it. Like you was wrapping up a hand. Like it's putting gauze or something.
Oh
In
man.
it to keep it soft.
So look, get this. I got a quick testimony. I want to put out there in the atmosphere, and I told y'all about this already, but I just wanted to say it again because I ain't tell them about this.
Right.
All right, let's hear it.
So, I told y'all about how I was at work, started a new job, and how the guy that hired me on, he didn't want to release me just yet.
Right.
So I kept asking him, like, I know what I'm doing. I know how to operate these cranes. Let me go out there and do my thing. He didn't believe me. He didn't believe in my certification. He thought my car was like, he had to check into it. That was I got to look into it more. Okay, whatever. So I'm chilling. First couple weeks of work, I'm not doing nothing. They calling people from different branches to do what I can do. At first I was offended. Then I was like, you know what? You going to pay me to sit? I'm going to sit.
Right.
So, long story short, he gets transferred to a whole new facility, and somebody called my current location. It's like, we need you to go up to Dayton, and we need you to do a lift. I'm like, all right, cool, I can do that. And on my way up there, they telling me like, the guy out there, he got the crane stuck in the air. We just need you to go out there and finish the job and help him out. Cool, no problem. I pull up on this scene, and it's the same guy that told me that he had to look into my certification. So I pulled up, and the first thing that popped in my mind is Uncle Ruckus. You know, we're like, well. But I had to get back righteous.
Right.
So I had to get back righteous.
Subjection real quick.
So I went out there, boom, helped him out, finished the job in like 20 minutes, and he had all these questions, and, you know, I took some time to teach him and, you know, tell him why, what happened, and, I just thought that was like dope because, the way God would, you know, what'd he say? Prepare a table for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So
right.
it's amazing how, you know, when it really happens in your life, you know, it's like, oh dang, like talking about a full circle.
Yeah.
Full circle for real, indeed.
Yep.
So yeah, that's my quick little work testimony, you know. But
It was also amazing, like, how you responded to the situation.
Yeah, that's
too.
what I was gonna say.
Like, you
You
just
passed
sat
the
there and you spent extra time extending your knowledge to him, even though, like, he had tried to belittle you or even not even believe in you. But you was like,
Yep.
nah, you had that's a
Yep. So many of us
Yep.
take pride
thanks,
in.
coach.
yeah. You had a heart of
Yeah.
humility, and I love that for you. I love that
That's
for
a
you.
part of the testimony.
Yeah.
That's a part of the testimony because that was a test for you. Mm-hmm. It was a learning experience for him that he could grow, but it was a test for you too. Like you say you this, you say you that. All right, what you do if I put you in this situation and now you gotta,
Right.
you know?
Right.
And it's so many people that claim they saved that will tell you like, oh, you better than me because I would've.
Right. You would have what?
Which is nothing
Right.
to be proud of.
Right.
But that's what we do.
Brag on the old man. That's what we do. The old version of us, we brag on them.
Right.
I would've. I ain't trading.
I would watch him try to get it down.
You don't
Right.
believe me, remember? You don't believe me.
I'm gonna show you better than I can tell you.
Right.
Like, oh wow,
Well, yeah, that was good, Sam.
thank you,
Yeah.
thank you. I appreciate
Proud of you.
that.
Yeah.
You know, hey,
Growth.
You know,
Yeah.
I'm out here just trying to be the best vessel I can be. You know, I wake up in the morning, I'm like, God, use me. You know, and when I walk out the house, no, stop.
This is a salvation commercial. You sitting at home. You're not doing that. You might as well get saved.
Right. Let them use you. You let the TV use you.
Yeah.
Oh man. So also this week, I posted a video on my social medias.
You posted several, my brother. You had some emotions.
I woke up one morning, I was fed up. I told my mom before I posted it, I said, Mom, I'm fed up. She said, what you talking about? I said, I'm posting a video today. She said, oh, okay.
Sounded just like
That's all
her.
he needed.
She said, what time?
No, but-
I said, I'm posting it this morning. And she thought, oh, you gonna do a workout video? I was like, I'm not posting a workout video, Mom. That's not what I'm doing. I'm fed up. So
Her optimistic spirit is just so Yeah, baby, go ahead.
Right.
But what I seen was so disturbing. Not really what was happening, but the lack of care, or I should say, the lack of knowledge in what was going on. So I saw this little church club, you know, people, you know, making the church look like a club scene. Mm-hmm. Now, I posted a video and I'm saying, you know, this ain't, you know, God ain't pleased with this. You know, not really coming from a judging standpoint, but really like just, you know, dropping knowledge. I'm not judging you. I'm not looking down on you, but I'm dropping knowledge because you're thinking you're moving in the right thing.
Right.
So I just wanted to let you know, like, hey, look, I know what you're trying to do. I see, you know, where you going with this or where you trying to go, but it's gonna be in vain. Like, it's not going nowhere. Mm-hmm. So posted the video, and a lot of people did not like it. They posted a lot of comments. Some of those comments I wanted to respond to, and I can't lie, I started to respond, but I was like, okay, it's turned into a back and forth, and you're really not hearing what I'm saying. You're trying to defend
Just trying
what
to
you want to
debate
do.
me.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I'm like, at some point, you know, I am going to talk about it, but I'm going to do it in a space where you have no choice but to listen.
Yeah.
You know, you got to listen in order to respond. You know, when you comment back and forth, you just trying to win.
I was trying to find it on here, but I can't find it. So, but go ahead.
But so I think it was like a chopped up version of a Kurt Franklin song. I forgot what song it was, but it was over like a trap instrumental, and I was like, dang. They had the strobe lights going. I mean, if you didn't hear the music, you would just look at the video and think they're in the club. Somebody in the comments said, you didn't even see the whole thing. You didn't know at the end it was sermons and people got saved and yada yada that. And that's all fine and dandy. But, right, looks are deceiving. From the look, it don't look like none of that happened. And if that what encouraged that happening at the end, like people getting saved and all the sermon, if that was the start of it, honestly, it's like the foundation was all screwed. Like that's how you started, the whole process of trying to save somebody, because they got saved on the false pretenses. That's what I'm trying to say. So, I can give my life to this because it looked like the life I'm supposed to be living.
Right, yeah.
So, I'm giving my life to this. Yeah, I gave my life to Christ because in the beginning, it started off as a club scene. So we can have the same scene, just different music. And God loves it. And my whole standpoint was you cannot take things from the world, try to mix it with God and say we made it God. That's not how that go. I see what you're trying to do. I know your goal, but you can't use things from the world and then try to bring it over to God and make him accept it when he don't want it. Because whatever you're trying to do, what people hear, it reminds them of where they were or where you're trying to bring them out of. But when you're, making them feel comfortable, where they supposed to be different, it's like, I don't have to change. That's not real change. That's not real change. That's like getting off a drug and then, switching it up with a different drug. Like I'm not doing crack no more, but I'm doing the medicated, what the doctor gave me. Like it's still a drug and it still got you hooked and it's, it's not helping you. You was healed months ago. You still popping Adderall. Like, I mean, I'm just trying to prove a point that you can't try to give God something that the world uses, that the world created, and it have nothing to do with love. If God is love and you believe God is love, God is love, not if he's God is love. And if you believe that truly, he's not in these worldly things that you love. You can't. People try to use scripture and chop it up and say, well, he's in anything and everything. And I'm like, that's not in the Bible. He's in everything. Like that's everything pertaining to the world. That's not the same. Everything.
Right.
So I wanted to talk about that a little bit because I feel like people are really, in their own world trying to do what they want to do and offer it up.
We get lost in good intentions. Like, what you want to do, what you want to accomplish is great.
Right.
And we might both share those intentions. Like, we want people to get saved. We want people to accept Christ in their life. But the methods in which that we choose to do that really matter. Really matter. And contrary to popular belief, there are methods that we try to use that aren't pleasing to God. The point that you just made was, yeah, sure, you can get somebody to confess Christ, but with a mindset that it's going to go this way or going to be this way, or these things that you use to try to get me over into this. You know what I mean? I get around some different believers or I get in some different atmospheres and now I'm conflicted. Because you made me think that, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I've had conversations with people that talk about how they have their own little church at home and people come over and we going to smoke and drink and we going to do all this, but we talking about God. So that make everything cool because, you got to meet people where they are and, you got to be willing to do this stuff because this is real. This is...
Yeah, right.
And, again, the intention. Cool, we share the same intention because this is about winning souls. The problem with that, like you said, is if I use a method that makes you feel comfortable where you are, you cannot receive newness because that's Christ, the new life, new heart, new attitude, new walk, everything new. How can you give me everything new and it don't cause me to even have a desire to change where I'm at? How everything gonna be new but me?
Right.
Like everything's supposed to be new, like you saying, except me. When the Bible tells us any man that be in Christ, he is a new creature. Old things are passed away. Behold, all things are become new.
Right.
Like that's the basis of your salvation. So the method in which we use to try to draw people in really does matter. Now, we are supposed to meet people where they are, but we gotta decipher what that means. That doesn't mean that I'm going to be a clone of who you are.
Right.
It doesn't mean that I'm going to come down and do the things that you're doing. It does mean that I'm going to be strategic and being able to speak your language so you can understand me. It does mean that I'm going to be humble and I'm not going to lord my salvation over you like you got to come up to my level.
Right.
It does mean that I have to take my suit off and sometimes I got to wear a t-shirt and some jeans and I can wear my chain and my ball cap. Like, it means those things as far as meeting somebody where they are. It does mean that instead of quoting scripture word for word, I changed my conversation and now it's just like we're talking and you don't know that I'm quoting script. Like, those types of methods are what we supposed to be using to win people because that's not stuff that's just going to make you feel comfortable where you are.
Right.
And it's still encouraging you to change.
Right.
None of the things I just mentioned, had anything to do with trying to clone something that clone something that the world does.
Right.
That's where we get lost at.
Yeah.
We can take music, we can take culture, we can take things and we can lace them with God. But what we cannot take are specific practices that this is what the world does. The world created this and the world presented it to us. And we're going to take that and spin it.
Right.
That's what we can't do.
Yeah.
That's what we can't do. Like, that's
Right.
Yeah.
That's where our intention get.
And my perspective on it is, if our goal, and it is our goal and our purpose here is to help build the kingdom and help win souls to Christ, why are we not presenting them with the tools that we need in our everyday walk Because we already know, and we talked about this before, once you really lay down your life to Christ, you instantly become, the enemy's first-hand priority of targeting. So you placing somebody in the atmosphere of the club-like environment and trying to mash up the worldly songs and Christian songs and trying to make it still pleasing to the flesh, how's that going to get them through the trials and the tests that they have to overcome?
Right.
They don't show them how to truly have a heart of worship and a posture of worship when it's time to go against, those worldly things, when it's time to die into your flesh and when it's time to really lay down your life to Christ. Like, you turning on some trap music or you going to this environment, that's not what's going to uplift your spirits. That's just going to cause your flesh to keep rising.
Yeah. And that's a good point because when you in that mode, you're only pleasing the flesh. But it feels so good that you want to say it's pleasing to God too, because you in a good space. I'm happy, my spirits is up, I feel good, I'm able to still participate in what I like, but at the same time, it's for God too, so we both win. It's a win-win. But you trying to merge the world and God, and it's like it's impossible. And somebody that looks at it and points at it and say, no, that's not it. You look at them like they judging you, or are they trying to make you feel bad? But no, we on this same walk. So if I will be wrong not to say something.
Exactly. So
you can take offense of how I said it. You can not like how hard I said it. That's cool. That's fine and dandy. But you can't take away from what I'm saying being the truth. You so offended that you overlooked it. Like, oh, maybe this don't glorify God. Maybe I wanted to glorify God, and I'm thinking that that's enough because that's what I wanted to do. But if it don't, it don't.
Right.
And I think that's a major issue with Christians. So much of what we do and say is led with emotions and offense. We offended at everything. So them the ears that we listen to messages with. It's the ears that we listen to correction with. It's the ears that everything is seen through the lenses of offense. And the minute you offend somebody, we gotta understand this. If you offend me right now, everything you saying, I don't care.
Yeah, you're in defense
how true it is.
Right.
I don't care. I missed everything because you offended me. And you could have just offended me with your approach. I didn't even hear what you said.
Right.
I didn't hear what you said. It's the difference between good morning and good morning. You offended me. So I don't care what you said good morning. You offended me. So that stops so much where we can't even communicate. And then we put that on display for the world to see.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Somebody told me I was offended when I posted the video. They said, you got that spirit of offense on you, brother. You just offended. I'm like, nah. Hey, look, I'm nobody. I'm not offended.
Right.
I promise you I'm not. Like I said, I'm just dropping information. And, to help everybody have a better walk. I'm not dropping information like I'm perfect. I'm not dropping information like I don't do no wrong. I'm dropping information letting you know, hey, it's a better way.
Right.
And
we got to do better.
That's it. And, I was telling them, I think I said something like, it's not worship. And somebody was like, well, what is worship? So then they went into that vein of I can worship in this and I can worship in that. And it's so many different forms of worship.
Right.
But that don't mean that God accept every form.
It's your heart.
Right. It's your heart. And honestly, I believe that, your heart was in a good place. But we all know what the Bible said about the heart. So we're not just going to lead with our heart being in a good place because the heart is deceitful. And desperately.
And just because
we can't just go off of that. And
just because you consider yourself worshiping, that don't mean that God automatically has to accept that worship.
Mm-hmm.
Or your mindset while you're worshiping or how you're worshiping. But like you said, worship is just not one straightforward thing. It's your posture.
And it's like it's a thin line, and I can see how it can be confusing because worship, it's the expression of obedience and honor and gratitude and adoration. That's what worship is.
Literally, I'm showing you what you're worth.
Right.
And I understand that so much to the point that I'm doing
worship
this.
Is dying to your flesh.
There you go.
It don't feel. Sometimes it don't feel good to worship when you worshiping. It's not about you at all.
There you go.
It's really sacrificing something, whether that's other people seeing you and you're like, well, I don't want to, especially like in a place of worship at church or whatever. If you may be a person where you don't like people looking at you, but if you worshiping God, and if that's what's causing people to maybe like glance or look over at you, you don't care about none of that.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Because the focus is on God.
Right.
Again, one of the basic concepts, let me not say the whole thing, because then that just leave room for debate. But one of the most basic concepts of worship is this is how much something or somebody is worth to me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So all the things that we do shows that worth to whatever it is. And we are creatures of that. Like that, we're created to express that in the way we live. So even when you're unaware of whatever you're worshiping something.
Right.
Because you're showing what something is worth to you.
Wow.
That's
so
deep.
it's nobody in public that can stop me. If we kicking it, it's nobody that can stop me from showing you that I love you or that I care about you. Like, oh, now they looking like
right.
If I'm with my wife outside of PDA, right, we ain't trying to do too much. Nobody can stop me from holding my wife's hand. Nobody can stop me from kissing her. Mm-hmm. Nobody can stop me from walking side by side because this is what you worth to me. Mm-hmm. This is what you worth to me. Like, I don't care what and if somebody can look at me or say something and cause me to be so uncomfortable that I disassociate myself with any form of showing you how much you're worth to me, then that speaks to how much you're really worth to me.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Whatever it is. Like, if your car is worth it to you, you're going to wash it. You're going to make sure the oil is changed. You're going to make sure you keep gas in it. You're going to put air in the tires because it's worth that.
And you know I be putting air in the tires. I finally got a new tire. I'm so happy. But yeah, I'm sorry.
I need an oil change as we speak.
I was trying to leave you alone. I really was because y'all are terrible. Like,
whoa, y'all.
I need an oil change as
well. Talk about it. Get
about oil changes and gas in the tank and whatnot.
Wait,
and
gas? I can't say always.
Hold on.
But I never let
you
my
don't do
thing
oil
go.
change?
I did not say that.
No,
I just said I need one.
They do not.
I do. I know the importance of it.
No, they don't. My wife had my car the last couple days. It's on E right now. Did I know that? No, I ain't been in the car. It's on E right now.
Gas,
I barely made it here. When I turned the car off, it was like, ugh.
Right. And to make it clear, he's not expecting her to put gas in the car. He just want to know that the car need gas in it. Because if I'm running somewhere and I'm rushing, I need to know.
Right.
I just don't want to get in. And
I think it's oil changes. Like, I really need to just do that. Like.
Yeah, but a lot of people think that all you're supposed to do to a car is put gas in it. No. And then some people don't even do that. And be 3,000 and 4,000 and 5,000 miles past the last oil change, like, and you wonder why your car sounds a certain way. And Yeah, but anyway, what it's worth to
My
you.
car don't sound like none yet.
New car sounded like a 2000.
Nah, my car don't sound like none yet. But I'm gonna make sure it don't get there. I'm gonna make sure of that.
It's like it sound rough.
Worship.
Yeah.
Hey, but you said something about, dying to yourself. Mm-hmm. And the first thing that came to my mind was, you're not really dying to yourself when you're trying to use what you think is a gift, to give it to God. And when I'm gonna expound on what you think is a gift, because people, they do have a gift musically,
right?
But some people use their gift, not for the kingdom, but for the world. Mm-hmm. So you've been using this gift and operating this gift, and you've been making beats and music, but you've been making it for the world. And you think that you need to take from the world and bring it over to God because that's where you use it. But sometimes you got to be bold enough and have enough confidence to say, I don't need the world, but I still got this gift. You have to, it's nothing wrong with music and sound. It's just about where it originates from. Like what was the motive of that sound? Mm-hmm. I was listening to a producer talk, and he was talking about how his main focus is always creating a new sound. He wants to be set apart. Even in his industry, his lane, even inside the world he in, he want to be set apart in the world. But he's thinking about a new sound, something that nobody ever heard before. So you're gifted musically. Okay, forget the world beats and the instrumentals and everything that people are used to. Honestly, I think it's dope. I'm not gonna sit up here and lie and be a hypocrite. I think it's dope when somebody, they can chop up a song that we all used to, and then they can, put God over it. It sounds good. Like, I'm like, cool. But you can't offer it up. That's where you lose me.
Right.
When you try to offer, I think it's cool to say. I think it's cool sometimes to show how talented you are musically. That I can do this with anything. But when it comes to I'm doing this for God, that's not what I'm using. I did that because I was bored and I was chilling, and I know I like that song. I like Alicia Keys on that joint, so I'm gonna take her out, but I'm gonna put this in it just to say I can do it. But what I'm not gonna do is do it and say, this is for God. Mm-hmm. Because what people don't understand is when I'm listening to it, I'm not hearing what you're saying. I'm thinking about the Alicia Keys song.
That beat going crazy.
So it's a
to your point. It's a few little mashups I done seen that had, Fred Hammond over a club record or whatever. Mm-hmm. And it was fire. It sounded dope.
Right. We're not gonna act like it's we can hear.
But like you said, I'm not going to use that. And the thing is, you're going to have some places that call themselves places of worship. You're going to have some local fellowships that's going to start introducing that kind of stuff, if not already. And here it's offering time, and it's a trap beat playing, and we are walking. But you're going to have that because the church. I always try to be delicate with this because people misuse this. So let me not say that.
My thing is
the vast majority of fellowships that's claiming to be the church are screwing up the idea of, like I said, meeting people where they at.
Right.
And doing things in a way that, because we are supposed to be fishers of men. Mm-hmm. So you do have to put certain things on your bait when you go fishing.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But what I'm not going to use is
something that's going to kill you.
I
want you to be here, but we never put nothing on the bait. Like a real fisherman that puts something on the hook, he don't put nothing on the hook that's gonna harm that fish,
right?
That's gonna make that fish sick, because we need you. So we're not gonna corrupt you, and it's kind of like you mess them up, because you get them in on this fake, and then they get confused and then they get hurt because they feel like you lied to them. Right. Because that's what you introduced to me. Mm-hmm. You told me I can feel like I'm in the club. That's what you told me. I can feel like I'm in the club.
Because I'm expecting this every Sunday now. Every offering. I'm like, oh, what happened to the...
Where the strobe lights?
And going back to what you said, because that was a huge point you made. Dying to your flesh. Denying your flesh. Dying to yourself. Like, anything that we incorporate from the world does not promote that.
Right.
And that's the primary thing that you have to do each day. That's the message that you have.
Hey, run it back one more time, please. Anything
that we use from the world does not promote you dying to yourself.
There we go.
because the world does not die to themselves every day
Exactly.
in the pursuit of God's purpose and plan.
Mm-hmm.
The world promotes do your thing, do whatever makes you happy, do whatever makes you feel good. It's, you know, your choice. You know, you got free will. That's what the world promotes. So if I take something that comes from that ideology, there's no way to blend that and mix that with righteousness. There's no way. It's oil and water.
Yep.
Like
that can be.
It's not going to be mixed at all.
Mm-hmm.
And that has to be the message. I don't care what method you think you're going to try to use. If the message is not being pushed, hey, there's newness for you. Your situation can change. Your life can change. Everything can change. What comes with this, though, is that the things that you enjoy, that you love right now, a lot of that is going to have to die. Now, not everything.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's some stuff that we do that we enjoy that's not totally dark and wicked and evil that can come on over with us. It just got to be put in a certain place or whatever. But majority of everything, it has to die. Because of the mind and the heart that you had when you were dealing and doing these different things and the activities, whatever it was. Going to the club was never something that I went there because I wanted to better myself or other people. It just wasn't.
Right.
It just wasn't. So being saved now, if I was to go to a place like that, because let's have this conversation. Because this what comes up. Like, is it okay for Christians to be in these types of places ever? Because the thing about being a witness, which is your life being a testimony of how good God has been to you, and then the act, the verb, witnessing to people, it calls you to be in some places where, you know, it's not a Christian establishment. There's no such thing as a Christian job. We talked about this before. There's no such thing as, you don't even hardly have Christian bookstores no more. Like, you got some faith-based businesses.
Right.
The majority of everywhere we go every day, when you go in Kroger, that's not Christian.
Right.
Like, you got to get your groceries, though. Right. Like, so you're going to be in these places and even called to go into places where they don't name the name of Christ. But there has to be a strategy that you're using, and you do need to truly be led by the Spirit to go into these places, because ministry will take you there. But if you go there and you just blend in and you don't look no different from anybody, I'm talking about as far as how you carry yourself.
Right.
I'm not talking about dress. You're not going to go to the club with your Sunday's best on.
Right.
If you was, you know, you know what I mean? Like, do y'all understand what I'm saying? Because I don't want to trip nobody up. Because sometimes some of the things we say can sound contradictory if you don't have a certain understanding.
Right.
So
your spiritual clothing.
Yeah.
I get you.
Yeah. Like, we don't want to blend in with the world in the way that we carry ourselves, the way that we talk, and the way that we live. That does not mean that we can't wear jeans and we can't wear nice clothes. It doesn't mean we can't wear jewelry. It doesn't mean that we can't drive nice cars. It doesn't mean that you know what I mean? Like, sometimes we don't make that distinction, and I think people get tripped up on that.
And I think people have that question because they still want to be pleasing to their flesh. Because why are you going there? Like, let's break that down. Like, what's the reason? Because everything inside of that place don't nothing promote God. Nothing is for the kingdom. You got, you drinking in there, you dancing to secular music, what you doing on the floor ain't holy. I mean, everything about that place doesn't say God. So why are we going there? Now, some people, I done been in situations where, somebody that I know and love, they having a birthday party or I get together and it's at this spot. And, you walk in and show your face and, happy birthday, yada, yada. And my thing is, like you're saying, and that's the perfect opportunity to, walk in with a different thing on your mind, walking in with God and being on a mission. I have no problem walking in and saying what's up and walking out. If you're going to walk in, like, be on some kind of mission. Who you taking with you? Are you trying to change something or blend in, like you say? I mean, you got people now that stand outside the clubs and they preaching. I mean, it's so many different things you can do other than blend in.
Right.
You want an excuse to be in that environment. But if everything that's in that environment that you participate in convicts you, then why?
Right.
Like, what's the point?
Mm-hmm. And that's when you
Jesus
gotta
was
know,
with him because he was saving.
Right.
He was on a mission.
and you gotta know your weaknesses and what you're still struggling with before you go into those places. And like that's what Dom said, you gotta really hear from the Spirit and know that this is God, because God, He will send you places to test you, but He just not gonna just blatantly just keep. You know, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like, if
I
He know you
can't
not
handle
ready
this, but
to
go
handle
there.
that, and if
Yeah.
you in your heart, and your mind, and your spirit, and your walk with Christ, you know, okay, Lord, I'm not ready for that check. What do I need to do to prepare for that before I go into this place? I'm not turning down the calling, but I want to be set up for success before I go in there.
And test you, see if you're going to change up or not.
Yeah.
You've been with me in the dark. You've been praying with me. You've been talking with me. We've been best friends. Now you got to go in this environment.
Right,
You going to change up? You still know me? When people say what you been doing, what you going to tell them?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, how you going to act?
Yeah.
So, I mean, sometimes, we do it as humans. How you going to act when you around these different people? Because you got to be with them. You here. You in the world. But, you know, people, like you saying, the whole blending thing, the whole blending in is being of it, not in it. So once you start blending, you're being of, because you wanna mix in. I don't want nobody to feel too bad. I don't want them to feel, you know, uncomfortable around me. I want them to be themselves. So for them to be themselves, you not gonna be yourself.
Right.
But you're supposed to be yourself, and they're supposed to encourage them to be who they are. So then from that place of who they are, they can know what changes they need to make, where they need to go from there. Nobody's telling you to walk in a room and then look at somebody and say something, and then they just change their life. But they should see your walk so smooth that it's like, whatever they're doing, what are you doing?
Yeah, you just made another good point too. Mentioning like the things that we do in the dark with God. Like we talked about that last time. Like, you know, just the things you do in your alone time with Him.
Mm-hmm.
And that has to be the barometer that you use to, you know, decide when you do what you do.
Right.
So when it comes to, when we start throwing out, you know, phrases like God know my heart and all of that, it is important that you do take a moment to do some self-evaluation, some self-reflection, and ask God, okay, where am I and what would you have me to do?
Right.
And if you spending that kind of time with God and you praying and you doing those things in the dark, then He'll lead you and give you a strategy to use. Because the question does remain, okay, well, how do we get those people to come out of those places that they in to come over here? Where they can be saved, where they can be filled, where they can be...
First, they got to know that they in a different place and they need to come over here. They need to see some kind of distinction.
Right.
So while you blending and making them feel comfortable, they don't even know it's a distinction. They don't even know it's somewhere they need to be.
Right.
Because you here with me. And then out of the blue, on a random Wednesday, you ask me to go to Bible class? Like,
right.
what?
But, you know, knowing that we, the church, we're called outside of the four walls. We're called to minister to people. That we do have to be in some places that don't mimic or don't, you know, replicate the church house.
Right.
We need to make sure that we're being led in a way where the strategies and the methods that we use are really coming from God.
Right.
And you know, God will not give us a strategy to use that the world is using. He won't do that.
That's good.
He won't do that, because then how do we know who's using, where did this really come from?
Right.
Where did this really come from? And again,
Right.
if it makes you feel comfortable in what it is that you're used to, then that's definitely not of God. Now, just going back to the situation that we're talking about that brought this up in the first place, let's say that, because I think I believe that there are going to come, even for us, there's going to come some opportunities and some situations where we're going to be called to certain environments like that. And we have to be prepared and spiritually and mentally ready to handle ourselves in those situations. Because let's just say we would have been there. Not because we want, you know, we just thought that would be a good time. But let's say we got invited there. Hey, we going to be doing blah, 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 blah. We didn't know what it was going to be like. And we get there and that's what they doing. Now what do we do? What's our next move? Whoever it was claimed that people ended up getting saved and blah, blah, blah in that situation. I wonder if it was because there were maybe a few people there.
You got to have that Steve Urkel spirit. I I watched the episode.
What?
I watched. Listen. I watched the episode of Family Matters, and this dude was at the opera. They singing. Everybody, you know how opera is. Everybody, they listening. He say, "Stop, stop." You can hear the violin. Stop the whole production. I can't do it. This ain't right. Just walk in there and start yelling, "Stop!"
I'm weak.
The way he be able to correlate stuff.
Yeah, like what?
Nah.
Like he was watching it as a kid, like this is gonna be a word one day. Like, huh?
But nah, that's a joke. That's not. You can't walk in and say. I mean, you can, but that's not gonna be.
Yeah, it's probably not gonna yield the result you're looking for. So you just have to make sure that you are spiritually and mentally where you need to be, because there will be opportunities that come like that. But don't be the person that create that opportunity using stuff that the world has given you.
And you know what's good? If you're truly called there, because going off of what you're saying, if you're truly called there and God needs you to be there, He already knows what's going on.
Right.
So if you're there for a reason, whether you're supposed to be speaking or, somebody invited you, whatever reason you're there, He already knows what's going on. So you're already prepared to know what to do in that situation. So what do I do in that situation? You allow Christ to use you, and you be yourself, because for whatever reason He allowed you to enter that place. Mm-hmm. If you're a speaker and you're supposed to speak in a place like that, I guarantee your message is about what you just saw. And you didn't even know you was going to see it. Mm-hmm. If you was truly supposed to be there and you let Holy Spirit use you, you don't, do your own little thing. You ain't going rogue on your messages. But, I feel like you're already prepared, because people will ask, like, what I'm supposed to do. If you're spending time like you're supposed to and you got that connection like you say you do, if God leads you there, it ain't it's already in me. What I'm supposed to do is already in me. So if I'm going to let God use me, I'm going to let Him use me. We think so hard and overthink so much that we think ourselves out of being used.
Right.
Like you didn't gyps yourself out of the opportunity to be used because you're thinking too much. Mm-hmm. You being used so you know how to think. Mm-hmm. What you thinking about?
Right.
Let Him use you.
Now that's a good point though. That's a very good point. I can attest to that myself. Spending too much time thinking instead of just continuing to prepare your heart in the afford time. Then you get to the situation you don't have to think. Mm-hmm. You don't have to. What am I gonna say? What we studying and what Bishop teaches, and it's tattooed in my mind and my mental. You don't have to think about what would Jesus do if you're being who He is. Would be, yeah.
That's it. That's all you have to do. I don't have to pray and what would Jesus do in this moment? WWID. What would Jesus do? Like it ain't about that. Because if you would be who Jesus would be, then
what He would do would come naturally.
Right. I'm just moving how He moves.
Because you could do something that you think Jesus would do, and then your heart not be in the right place, so it don't even be effective. Like you wanted it to be.
Right.
And now your intention done went down the drain.
Yep.
Good intention does not outweigh your heart being, aligned with God.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yep. But people, they think that, their intentions was good. So a lot of people that had good intentions and they in a place that they never thought they'd be right now.
I mean, Lucifer had good intentions, didn't he? I mean, I'm just going to exalt myself and take over the throne, hold it down.
Hold it down.
Big dog.
Give you a break.
Yeah.
Let me help you.
I got this.
Right. You've been running it up here. I've seen what you've been doing.
It's my turn. We've been doing this for a while.
I mean, me and the homies just think.
Right, just a few of us though.
I was like, what you just say?
And you know what? We on the topic, and we wrapping up. But every time I think about Satan, I think about music and how the Bible say he was music.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too.
That's wow. Mm-hmm. And to even know that, it makes you think differently when you listen to things. Mm-hmm. And then if you a person that's trying to mix that world and God, you need to understand what you really doing.
That you're basically trying to put God and the devil on the same
level.
Right.
Who using you?
Right.
Who usually? Because there's a lot of people nowadays. They like to say stuff like, I'm spiritual. I asked somebody the other day. I said, you believe in Jesus? Is he Lord? Over your life? Like it's I'm spiritual. I said, oh, okay. What spirit using you?
That just became popular because people don't want to be religious.
Yeah. I want to know what spirit using you, because what that mean? Demons got spirits too. So I mean, you spiritual, but just saying that don't mean nothing. People they want to run away from religion so bad, Then you get called being religious when you start, implementing principles and the things that God say and laws. It's like now you're religious. Like, nah, don't do that. Don't put me in the box because you want to be all the way over there.
Right.
Like people think spiritual just mean free, just whatever, however. That's spiritual.
And that's dangerous. Because, I mean, that's dangerous. You moving like spiritual, I'm just wherever, however, being used by whatever. That is dangerous.
But my thing is, why is it that the Christian religion only gets the backlash when religion is brought up? When the word religion is brought up, or the principles of religion, or you live in a religious life?
Because it's the one that requires the most sacrifice.
And it's because
I got to give up the most with y'all.
The Christians that's involved in the religion is so divided. That's literally the only religion where that much division exists. Mm-hmm. No other religion is, well, this is my interpretation. What do we do? Right. No other religion move like that.
Exactly. That is true. They
if
all
you
know,
Muslim, you gonna be Muslim.
Right.
And this is how you be Muslim. Right. Mm-hmm. If you gonna be Jewish, this how you gonna
right.
Like,
Christian?
would it be in like
your own interpretation?
Right.
I said this to you the other day. Look, you are entitled to your own interpretation. It's yours. And that's cool. But know that it can still be wrong if it is not what God said. Own your interpretation, but don't try to put it on other people because it's yours. Because if it ain't God's, it's wrong. Mm-hmm. Who are you to tell me it's wrong? Who am I? Who am I to tell you it's wrong? Only a disciple, somebody that read their word. Who are you to tell me it's right when you ain't going by nothing that God said?
Hey, this so random. Y'all seen that movie Osmosis Jones?
No. Hold on, I probably did see it. What it's about?
It's so stupid. So it's an animated movie, and who in that movie? Chris Rock. Okay. And he play a white blood cell. And it's
I think I did see that.
It's showing the real life of this dude just being nasty, foul, and he dying. He got Ebola or something. But on the inside, it's showing all the cells and stuff, like in cartoon form. Mm-hmm. And Osmosis Jones, the white blood cell, teamed up with a pill, and they trying to save dude from dying.
Right.
And the bad guy was some virus or something. But this so random. But I gotta say it because it's me. Because whenever somebody be like, who am I? It just make me think of this scene in a movie where they in the club, and it's Club Zit. So it's a zit in his forehead, and they holding the club in there anyway.
You know it was popping.
Yeah, so they sneak into the little bad guy lair.
Zit pop. Come on now, you gotta follow me.
Yeah.
But look. So they in the club, and they sneak into the little bad guy meeting, and they talking about what they gonna do and how they gonna kill him. And so it get to him, because he keeps saying corny stuff trying to foil their plan. Like, I don't think we should do that.
Right.
And so one of the bad dudes is just like, who are you? He's
right.
Like, who am I? Who am I? I'm a bad, booty-shaking picanosis.
Hey, stop.
Stop. Whenever somebody say that, I just think of that scene. It wasn't nothing deep or revelational. Inside the mind is down. That's all.
Oh, man. Who am I?
I like the inside the mind.
I'm a Holy Ghost filled. Blood covered. Sanctified. Man of God. That's who I am. Who is you? Oh, man. Hey, Kay, you got anything? We wrapping up. Wrap it up.
I just I feel like we had a great conversation, and I just really hope and pray that it reaches who needs to see this, and even those who don't even think they needed to hear this. That's just my hopes right now and my prayer. But just like the importance of worship. Worship is very, very big. Worship can get you out of things that you could feel like you're you're going to be stuck in for the rest of your life. But just because you take the time to worship and surrender to God and to really focus on Him and who He is, like, that could change your whole life. Worship does change you.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to know how to properly worship. And we can't, as Christians and as believers and us trying to build the kingdom, we can't be giving people, you know, false information when it comes to worship, because worship is our weapon overall. Like,
Giving people guns at gym.
we can do so much with worship, and then especially when you're able to come together with people and y'all worship the right way, it go crazy. When God is there and in that presence and in that atmosphere, so much can happen with true worship.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I gotta say.
That's good.
I like that. And it should become a lifestyle, because if worship is my lifestyle, then I don't need no specific type of music genre to bring it out of me.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't need no special atmosphere, and I don't need you to make me comfortable. I just need to be continually thinking about how grateful I am to all that God is to me.
When you make that transition over, man, your life gonna be so much better. Mm-hmm. And you don't have to bring over nothing that you used to. Nothing that made you feel good. Because I'm going to tell you this. The thing that made you feel good was the things that made you feel good without God. Them the temporary things that you thought you needed. But once you have God, you don't need that no more. Mm-hmm. He's going to create something new in you where you're going to be able to create something new that the world doesn't have their hands on. That's the beautiful thing. Mm-hmm. I don't need this trap beat. God put it in me. I'm going to make me a whole different beat. But, you know, sometimes we scared to use the instruments that God gives us because the world reacts to the instruments that they got.
Yeah.
But, you know.
I think, and it's the last thing I'm going to say. But,
all right, make it the last thing.
Yeah, for sure.
After he just went on.
It's cool. The baseline of everything that we saying comes down to, with newness, with change, you cannot bring old ways, old thought patterns, old habits, old practices with you. And so if you're an agent of change, which is what we are agents of change. We are ambassadors for Christ. When we're going and we're trying to win souls, we cannot then do things that don't encourage them to change. Mm. That's it.
That's it.
That's the baseline.
That's the baseline. I like that. Hey, we out of here. We appreciate y'all time. Hey, I'm signing off. Y'all have a good one.
He wants you to know that what's inside of you is like grandmama's greens. So don't give up. Your time is coming.